everyone. Welcome and find a seat. We've got a lot of material, so we're going to start right on time. I'm Ashley Wilson. I'm on the healthcare team, and there's a lot of our team here today. Thank you. As Christians, it is part of our duty to take care of God's creation, and that is why we were formed. And so it was important to start a Sunday school class off with that little reminder of why we're here. So the Earth Care team has put together a Sunday school series addressing some common environmental concerns, some promising practices, and some ways we can make a difference. Today we'll discuss recycling and introduce an exciting new plastic film recycling program for our church. Next week we will pause to hear from our missionary partner in the Middle East, and that couldn't be more timely right now. But then the third Sunday, October 6th, we're going to focus on some progress being made in the Earth Care realm. There's plenty to worry about, but there's also many innovative programs in development, so come hear the good news. Then our final Sunday, October 13th, Mary McLean Aspel, Director of North Carolina Offices at the Southern Environmental Law Center, will share their legislative agenda for the upcoming session of the General Assembly. She'll also tell us how we can effectively lobby our elected representatives and advocate for change. Slide 2. My AT guy. So now we'd like to start by showing this great 15-minute NPR documentary discussing how recycling was once considered the solution to the problem of America producing more waste per capita than any other. It shows that recycling can work, but it's not magic. And it emphasizes that one of the biggest problems is the tendency of almost everyone, from manufacturers to consumers, to over-believe in recycling. So keep your eyes and ears open for the term wish cycling.
One more quick thing, a request. This video is going to make you all want to talk, and we want us to talk. If you would just indulge me, I would like to show you, and I'll do them as quickly as I can, some slides with some additional information and get all the way through that, and then we will open it up for all the Q&A. I'm afraid if we get into the wonderful questions that this will raise, that all my little slides won't get seen.
This is James Williams. James Williams' bale of plastic. This is James Williams' stockpile of 25,000 pounds of his county's recycling. See, what's missing here is the part where the recycling actually gets recycled. Normally, James would sell all this to a processor who handles that. But something is happening to America's recycling system. It's in a bit of a crisis.
We actually had to give away hundreds of tons of paper because there was no market for it.
This is Craig Hample. He runs a recycling center in Burbank, California.
You might be able to get 20 or 22 tons on a truck, but it may cost you a few $100s just to move it across the Los Angeles basin.
Recycling, which was supposed to make money, was in fact costing money. And that's just one thing on a long list of things about America's recycling system that is no longer working. But Americans keep throwing things in bins, trucks keep collecting them, and so people like James have had to come up with creative solutions.
I've actually acquired some semi-trailers so we can stuff material full of them.
This is a story about responsibility and what happens when everyone keeps trying to pass it off to the next person, and what happens when finally there is no next person. Here in America, we generate the most waste per capita in the world. And if recycling keeps going the way it's going, figuring out what to do with all of that is going to be a big problem.
Okay. What do I do? That's a very good question. I am a department of one.
This is Monica Boehringer. She has unique insights as to how we got into this mess. Problem number one, a public that is very disconnected from the reality of recycling.
Public Works, this is Monica, how can I help you? Is it out at the curb or is it on? Okay, it's at the curb. Hey Billy, it's Monica. The resident has been burnt yard waste in the wrong container. So let me transfer you over there, okay? Hold on a second.
Some of the phone calls that I get regarding recycling. The numbers thing, okay? There is something on your recycling, on your plastic especially, and it's like a little symbol with chasing arrows and a number in it. They think they see the chasing arrows and a number, and they're like, oh, obviously this is recyclable, but it isn't.
There's all scrambling, all the marketers are scrambling to have their eco-cred by having the recycling symbol on their packaging.
This is Amy Hammis. She's the recycling specialist at Burbank Recycle Center.
The recycling logo, which we call the chasing arrows, what it is doing is from the plastic resin manufacturer to the recycler, it's signaling, here's the kind of plastic we used in that particular product. So even if a package is saying it's recyclable or it's got the recycling logo on it, that's not always the full story. It's not whether we want to recycle something or not. It's about, can we sell it?
Which depends entirely on where you are, because there are virtually no federal regulations for recycling.
You go to someplace like California, their regulations are very different. You go to Washington State, it's different again. You go to Colorado, it's another story. And it's that lack of consistency across the board that adds to the confusion.
One thing about recycling that is consistent across America, residents' total delusion about what they can put in the bin.
They just think that the recycling cart is a portal to another universe, and it's not.
People in the industry call it wish cycling.
It runs the gamut, it really does. You'd be very surprised what people think is recyclable.
You name it, eventually it'll be found in it.
Let's see, a pool table,
Big propane tanks.
Needles, loose needles.
a neck brace,
We've had guns, ammunition, fireworks, sparklers.
the kitchen sink. Somebody called to ask me which end of the deer to put into the cart first.
I had a live snake. Recently, we were able to save him and release him out into a nature preserve. The one thing about the public is when they are done with the material, they're done with it. They're not connecting the dots. That there's a journey that item is going to take, and it's going to become someone else's responsibility.
Someone else's responsibility, a beautiful concept. And for America, that someone was China. Until a few years ago, America exported millions of tons of plastic trash, selling it to China to be recycled into something new.
China provided this huge, easy cure-all to overconsumption in the developed countries. China was hungry. They were building an economy based on manufacturing. You could send those contaminated materials to China, and they could put, labor at 1/10 the cost to sort those materials. And so for a while, it was a handshake agreement. We'll take the dirty stuff and we'll sort it over here. You just get us the bulk material.
The percentage, the quantity of valuable recycling material started to get smaller and smaller and smaller. The wishful recycling, people not putting things in correctly, the assumption that somebody else will finish the job for you.
Now, this wasn't entirely the fault of consumers. There are two types of contamination. Contamination caused by citizens and contamination caused by manufacturers.
Say, think of like a canister, like Pringles or some coffees come in. That canister is made of paper, cardboard, then inside is glued aluminum foil. All that stuff is recyclable by itself. But when you combine materials together, who are you gonna sell it to? The paper guy doesn't want. paper that's got aluminum foil glued to it, and the metal person doesn't want to have to dismantle the paper, and we're not doing that. All we are is sorting it and selling it.
And both types of contamination were happening too frequently. More and more, we weren't sending China a recycle. We were sending them our trash. Plus, China had grown so much that they were generating enough waste to meet their demand for raw materials on their own. Importing America's waste was becoming more of a problem than it was worth.
And they started looking at their own environment and what was happening. And then it really, the hammer really came down.
That's when we started sending our waste to other countries, and they started having similar pollution problems. Eventually, the United Nations banned the export of contaminated plastic waste to developing nations.
So the position that we're left with is we're still collecting all these materials, we're still generating all these materials, but now we just can't sell it to anyone that's going to make it into something new.
All right, what are we gonna do with this material today that we've got 5 boxes coming in and only got room for 3? So everything just piles up on us and we just move what we can when we can.
We have Earth, right? We have this one planet. We only have so many places that we could put our waste. You can't put it in the ocean. Look what happened, You can't put it on top of a mountain. They've even tried to put it into a volcano. It's not working. We have to come up with a better plan.
This pile in the warehouse right now is probably somewhere in the vicinity of about 100 tons, and that pile is one person in the United States. About a lifetime of discards, that's about what it would look like.
Recycling is one of those things where it not only does the public kind of depend on that emotionally to relinquish their, guilt about buying things, but it has been kept alive by the manufacturers. And this is a long history of this.
To understand that, we have to start here, in the 1940s.
The future will bring plastic fabrics, wondrously fine, shoes more glamorous than Cinderella's.
When manufacturers started using plastic for consumer goods, they treated it as a durable material, using it to make objects meant to last.
There will be furniture combining strength with lightness.
But pretty soon, manufacturers realized that the fastest way to increase profits would be to get people to buy plastic, use it once, and then throw it away. At one plastics industry conference in 1956, a speaker looked out at the crowd of plastic manufacturers and said to them, "Your future is in the garbage wagon." And things started to explode.
Baggy's plastic bags always have the sound of freshness. A new invention from Procter.
Just throw the whole razor away.
Controls new 2-liter plastic bottle bag handles easily. Like a factory outlet. Take count of your bucket list. And that's strong enough for protecting from a nice hard lungs.
Naturally, generating all of this new waste had consequences.
All these one-way containers that were just starting out were showing up in all the public spaces. So the federal government, US, said, hey, manufacturers, we want you to do something about this. They said, okay, wait, don't restrict this, because these one-way containers are the best thing since, sliced bread. And so they said, okay, we'll create Keep America Beautiful, we'll talk about littering.
Coca-Cola and Dixie Cup and a bunch of other companies got together and formed an organization called Keep America Beautiful and started making PSAs.
Daddy, you forgot. Every litter bit hurts.
Right, Susan Spotless. Every litter bit, thoughtlessly dropped, blemishes a bit of America.
These got people to stop littering and shifted the responsibility of dealing with waste from manufacturers to the consumers. And for a while, that worked.
A unique day in American history is ending, a day set aside for a nationwide outpouring of mankind seeking its own survival. Earth Day.
By 1970, citizens were increasingly concerned about the environment. Manufacturers were facing growing pressure to take responsibility for excess production.
The garbage, the trash, the carbon monoxide, the junk.
So on Earth Day, the next year, Keep America Beautiful released this.
Some people have a deep, abiding respect for the natural beauty that was once this country. And some people don't. People start pollution. People can stop it.
And they've never stopped talking about littering, and they've never started talking about the excess production.
Keep America Beautiful's senior director, Randy Hardman, says that it has expanded its efforts to promote recycling. It partners with local communities to do so.
So this is a litter picker. People like these. These were a gift when I went to the Keep America Beautiful conference. Because I attended, I got 2 dozen of these. In 2017, we became a Keep America Beautiful affiliate. And so that's about recycling awareness and litter collection.
Recycling, when it works, is a valuable way to preserve resources. But we overbelieve in it.
The marketing of it for decades has been, you're saving the earth. That's all you need to do, public. Keep consuming, you can do all this disposability, and all you have to do is simply put it in that blue bin. Your job as a citizen is done. So it led to more disposability, really, and because we had that get out of jail free card to ease our guilt.
Has consumerism driven me mad as a recycler? The answer is no. What we would need to do is to work together with manufacturers to be more responsible in the development of products and maybe reducing some of the packaging. How do I square this with my life at home? For example, I've got an affinity for applesauce. My applesauce containers, those little plastic cups, are awesome for a lot of other different things. It's a single-use cup, but it's something that I could use again, and I do. And how I square with all of this is I have hope, and I have energy, and I want to ignite the passion in someone to reinvent what they have and maybe use it one more time, just for me.
Just eats at me all the time about recycling is we just keep trying to solve this on the back end, to try to solve the problems that are created upstream. I wish we could take the word recycling out of this equation and just talk about consumption and waste as if there was no recycling, because it has enabled some of the worst behavior I've ever seen. You guys want to take a bale home? Souvenir, I'll sign it.
Ashley found that, and I was like, we gotta show that whole thing. Hey Ashley?
Yeah.
Will you turn those off, please?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
She is gonna pass around the sign-up sheet, just for your name and email address. Don't worry, we are not gonna spam you till the end of time, but we would love to be able to, just for the next 4 weeks and maybe a little bit beyond, share some information with you. So like I said, I'm gonna blast through a bunch of slides and introduce the NexTrex challenge, which we're very excited about. And then we'll have discussion and Q&A. So couple of quick and very depressing facts from the United Nations Environment Program, which is the leading global authority on the environment. Oh, and before I say quick and depressing, anybody notice that we could hear the choir singing when she was talking about, please, just for me, I have hope. Yes. Use your applesauce containers. Like the choir was like, yes. All right, so back to depressing. I think these are worth reading out loud. While plastic has many valuable uses, we've become addicted to single-use plastic products with severe environmental, social, economic, and health consequences. Around the world, 1 million plastic bottles are purchased every minute, while up to 5 trillion plastic bags are used worldwide every year. In total, half of all plastic produced is designed for single-use purposes, used just once and then thrown away. Today, the world produces about 400 million tons of plastic waste every year, which is 800 billion pounds. Global plastic production is projected to triple to 1.1 billion tons by 2050. Most plastic waste is either incinerated or sent to landfills, polluting our air, land, and water, and only a tiny fraction is recycled. In the United States, we generate 48 million tons of plastic waste, and only 6% of that is recycled. I'll read this one as well. Each year, at least 8 million tons of plastics enters the ocean, the equivalent of 1 garbage truckload every minute. By 2050, there'll be more plastic by weight than fish in the ocean. But we shouldn't stop recycling, as the video pointed out. But we need to continue to educate ourselves and spread the word on how to do it better. And that's what today's class is about. Recycling is worthwhile, but if we're not doing it right, we trash the entire system. All right, I'm gonna just talk about Orange County. I'm gonna talk a little bit about Durham City and County, but for the most part, I'm gonna focus on Orange because that's where we are. That's where our beloved recycling carts that are out there go, Orange County. As many of you already know, Orange County's Solid Waste Department has a great website with virtually everything you need to know about the county's recycling program. Durham and other cities and counties have their own programs with different guidelines. I'm just gonna focus on Orange. Their website is pretty self-explanatory, but I do wanna highlight a few things. Okay, pardon all the text, but this is really important. And this is what the video emphasized. Orange County no longer uses the resin code number system, for example, 1 through 7 plastics, to identify which types of plastics are accepted in our single-stream recycling, including curbside recycling. Instead, Orange County follows the shape rule. Plastic bottles, tubs, jugs, and jars are the only plastic. Emphasize, we're talking plastic here. It's the worst. Plastic items accepted in single-stream recycling and curbside recycling carts. Caps and lids are okay as long as they're reattached to the item. I'm guilty of not always doing that, but now I'm not anymore. All items should be empty and rinsed. You don't have to run them through your dishwasher. Just rinse them. Give them a good faith rinse. As the video pointed out, resin codes can be misleading and are not intended for consumer use. The reason we are in such a mess is because we're all looking at these stupid recycling resin codes and these chasing arrows, and we're like, recycling? I wish cycle. They're used by manufacturers to determine an item's chemical makeup. Not all items with a number can be recycled in Orange County. For example, plastic bags, which we're going to talk about a lot, are number 2 HDPE. That stands for high density polyethylene. Milk jugs can also be made out of number 2 high density polyethylene. But plastic bags are not, never, ever, ever accepted in our recycling bins and curbside carts in Orange County or anywhere else. But milk jugs are accepted, even though they're made of the same material. Shape is what we're interested in Orange County. The same applies to other items in which only some with a particular number are accepted. Okay, I don't expect you to be able to see all the fine print here, but this is just to show you that the county's website tells you clearly what can and cannot be recycled in your single stream curbside cart. There's tons of great info on the county's website, and I really encourage you to look at it again if you haven't recently, or definitely if you never have. There are a lot of no's, a lot of no-nos, including this huge one. Never put plastic wraps or shipping those air pillows that come from Amazon and everywhere else, bubble wrap, bags, other types of plastic film in your recycling bins. But what should we do with it, you ask? What should we do with all that thin plastic film? Some of you know, but I'm gonna hold that question till the end. The county's website also has a great A to Z waste and recycle guide where you can search for a particular item and see how to properly dispose of it. For example, the stumper, the clamshell plastic. Oh my gosh, do we hate these. Ashley and I have struggled with these forever. If you type in clamshell into the A to Z recycle guide, it tells you that they are not accepted in Orange County for curbside recycling. They don't care what number is on it. Do not put it in there. The county defines a clamshell as a one-piece container consisting of two halves that close, join together. It goes into your trash in Orange County. But check out Durham City. Durham City. Durham City accepts clamshells. Number 1 clamshells. You can kind of feel the difference between a number 1 clamshell and a number 6. The 6 is kind of stiff and crinkly, and it just feels cheap. And the 1, like it's got organic berries in it or something. You know they spent a lot of money on that clamshell. But you gotta take it to a friend who has Durham City, but not Durham County, just Durham City. Okay, so how confusing is that? But in Orange County, throw them in your trash.
That's why I thought it was optimistic on the video when she said different states have different guidelines. I thought, she doesn't live in this area.
Exactly. I love that Orange County includes this on its website. As the first sentence says, reuse is better than recycling. And Orange County, as I'm sure a lot of you know, has multiple salvage sheds at its waste and recycling centers. Those waste and recycling centers are such fun places to hang out. Where you can leave items if they still work. Don't take your trash there. Find the appropriate bin out there for something that's broken. It also provides a wonderful list of secondhand stores and charitable community groups that accept clean items that work. I don't expect you to be able to read those, but trust me, they're there, and there's a lot of great organizations there, some of which we partnered with here at the church. The county's solid waste and recycling newsletter is excellent, and you're not even a nerd for signing up for it. You're just a responsible citizen of planet Earth. I'd encourage everyone to sign up for it. We're going to have links to all this information on the church's Earth Care website, by the way. County has a great new app. You can see the Wilson family. We've got our curbside pickup schedule there. You can see the calendar for your particular address. It'll send you reminders to put your cart out. I'm sure you all sometimes hear the truck out there and you run out there in your pajamas or worse to put your cart. It also includes the handy-dandy recycling guide on an app. While you stand out there in your pajamas trying to decide whether to throw something in your cart, you can type it in. App's available at the Apple and Google stores. If there's any info that you can't find online, or if you have suggestions or concerns, and believe me, have I sent a lot of suggestions, let's not say concern. You can call or email the solid waste department. They are very responsive. Okay, now we're gonna crash back down to our friends at the UN Environment Program. 36% of all plastics produced are used in packaging, single-use food and beverage containers. 85% of that ends up in landfills or as unregulated waste. We're going to talk about plastic film now. It's typically defined as any plastic that's less than 10 millimeters thick, okay? Really thin. Grocery bag, great example. Most plastic films are made from polyethylene resin. They are readily recyclable if they are clean and dry and not in your recycling bin or your curbside cart. So how are we going to recycle these? First, let's look at more awful things about thin plastic film. Top 10 forms of beach litter. The second and fourth on this list are both film. Plastic film is light. It can be carried by the wind from someone's trash bin or someone's pocket or someone's recycle bin if they put it in there, heaven forbid. Plastic food wrappers and grocery bags are often used on the go, like when you go to the beach. When plastic films escape into the environment, they threaten wildlife, and over time they break down into harmful microplastics. So why can't we recycle plastic bags and film in our curbside recycling? Let's just watch this short PBS News video.
You're not supposed to recycle plastic bags at home.
But why?
But why? The bags are made of recyclable materials, but recycling companies don't want them in your blue bin. Seems strange, right? It's due in part to single-stream recycling, which is common in many communities. It works like this. You toss everything into one bin, and it all gets sorted at the recycling center. Special gears separate flat items, like paper and cardboard, from bottles and other containers. Air jets split lightweight bottles and cans away from glass. Electrically charged aluminum cans are repelled into their own stream, while magnets pull out tin cans and other metals. And after a beam of infrared light detects up to 7 types of plastic, a blast of air sends them along individual paths. The end result is huge bales of sorted materials, which are sold to paper mills, metal foundries, and plastic makers. So, what's the problem with plastic bags? The first complication occurs at step 1, the single-stream recycling bin. Here, bags get wet and dirty and become too contaminated to sell. Second, there's no mechanical process for separating plastic bags at recycling facilities. And a recycling industry representative said there's not enough staff or money to clean and dry the dirty bags. Instead, they either get tangled up in sorting equipment or accidentally end up in bales of separated paper. And if just 0.5% of a bale is contaminated by other materials, it can't be sold to reuse companies. In the end, most plastic bags are removed by hand and dropped in the trash, even if recyclables are inside. So, what can you do? Clean and dry plastic bags are still recyclable, but they must be dropped off at specially designated collection spots, like the ones you see at grocery stores. From there, companies buy the bags and recycle them into hard, durable plastics, like patio furniture. If you must choose between a home recycling bin or the trash, the recycling industry suggests throwing plastic bags in the trash. It might feel wrong, but recycling centers say it helps more materials get recycled. Another option, don't use plastic bags. Opt for paper or cloth bags instead.
Enter the NexTrex Recycling Challenge, which starts today at UPC. Trex and other companies, how many of you have huge amounts of plastic film in your house that you're just itching to bring to the church? Trex and other companies downcycle. That means recycling something into something that's not quite as valuable, because it's not quite as pure. To truly recycle a plastic polyethylene grocery bag, you would make it back into a plastic polyethylene grocery bag. But this is going to be downcycled. They can downcycle this into durable products like outdoor decking and furniture. This avoids using virgin materials like trees and more oil. Polyethylene is made of oil. It helps divert plastic film from becoming landfill trash, or even worse, litter. Trex Company is the largest recycler of plastic film nationwide, purchasing returned consumer bags and film from the majority of grocery and retail stores in the United States. It uses more than 1.5 billion plastic bags every year to make its eco-friendly wood alternative outdoor living products. A standard 16-foot Trex board contains recycled material from over 2,000 plastic bags. All right, if UPC collects at least 1,000 pounds of acceptable plastic bags and film within the next 12 months, starting today, we'll win a Trex bench made with recycled plastic that we can put wherever our staff tells us we're going to put it. I would nominate the playground, but all right. We have 2 NexTrex bins right outside this classroom in the Dunham Hall lobby, and a third near the Henderson Street entrance. All right, here are some of the types of plastics that can be recycled in the NexTrex program. Remember, plastic has to be clean, dry, and free of food residue. Produce bags, store bags, ice bags, Ziploc bags, cereal box liners. Who knew? Who's been throwing those away a little bit every now and then? Case overwrap, meaning the plastic that wraps a case of water bottles that some people buy. None of us in this room would ever buy a case of water bottles. Bread bags, newspaper sleeves, dry cleaning bags, bubble wrap, plastic, e-commerce mailers. I bet you anything that's going to be the majority of what we. Okay, any plastic films that you see a number 2 or number 4 recycling symbol, meaning that it's polyethylene or PE, that's good to go. Good to go, okay? But it doesn't have to say that. Most of the stuff that you're going to see is not going to say that, okay? We also have a lot of no-nos. And this information, I've taped this sheet to every one of the bins. It's also online. We're going to show you how you can find that. But I want to point out to you a couple of things that I think are particularly interesting. Check out no frozen food bags. That is not made with simple number 2 or 4 polyethylene. There's all kinds of different stuff going on in those bags, okay? Also, look in the top in the text. I'm sorry, the second one. Pre-washed salad mix bags. What's up with that? Okay. They come in plastic bags that look similar to recyclable polyethylene bags. They're sometimes labeled with a number 5, and sometimes they'll have the letters PP as well. That's the abbreviation for polypropylene. Don't worry, you don't have to remember polyethylene, polypropylene, oh my God, it's chemistry class. But you can tell the difference. They're crinkly, they're shiny. If you hold them and try to kind of mush your thumbs in them to see if you could put your thumbs through them or stretch them, they won't give. Like, think about a Ziploc bag. You can mush your thumbs into a Ziploc bag or stretch it, and it will stretch.
John, the cereal bag liners don't stretch either.
I know,
They
but
feel thick.
I hear you, and I agree with you, but NexTrex has it on their list of acceptable, so we're going in my bins.
So maybe they mean plastic cereal bags.
Maybe
not
so.
plastic.
Yeah. So these go into your trash. These number 5s. All right, so I went to the store yesterday and did a little experiment and got a bunch of these bags. Okay, this first one, this is Taylor Farms Mediterranean Crunch. It's pre-washed salad. It's shiny, stiff, and crinkly. It has a do not recycle symbol on the back. Okay, good, thank you. You're going in the trash, and shame on you, Taylor Farms, for selling that pre-washed salad mix to me in that bag. Okay, hey, I love Harris Teeter. We're gonna be taking a lot of our UPC NexTrex, but here's a pre-washed salad bag from Harris Teeter. It's got no info on it as to what the bag is made of or what I'm supposed to do with it, unless I missed it, because I looked everywhere on this bag. but it's crinkly and shiny, and it doesn't feel like I can mush my thumbs through it. All right, we're gonna pass these around. Thank you.
Oh, that's it, I'm sorry. One on each side.
All right, no NexTrex for that pre-washed salad. Okay, check this out. Sweeties, how sweet. These are little mini sweet peppers. But look what's on the back of the bag, which, by the way, is shiny and crinkly and feels a little more rigid. Number 5. Number 5. What is number 5? PP. Polypropylene. Sorry. That's what it says in the information. I'm just repeating. Okay, but check this out. Right next to it, here's some organic mini sweet peppers from Nature Fresh Farms, bless their heart. I can tell before I even look on the back of this feels like a Ziploc bag. I can stretch it, I can move my thumbs through it, and lo and behold, look what's on the back, our favorite NexTrex symbol there, recycle if clean and dry, store drop off. All right, so feel the difference between these two. We've got some others. You know how grapes and things like that come in these crinkly bags that stand up on their own? Well, I searched, and this one's got a number 5, PP. Exactly. Okay, so if you don't see an item on the list, here are the quick and easy tests. See if it'll stretch when you pull it. If yes, it can be included. If it tears like paper, please don't put it in the NexTrex bin or take it to your participating grocery store. If it's shiny or crinkly, it doesn't go into the NexTrex bin. Okay, I don't expect you to be able to read this. This is on the website. It's very interesting, really interesting about what can be included in the NexTrex bin. And check this out. What if my Amazon shipping plastic bubble wrappy thing has a sticker on it? If you can get it off, please. You can cut it off. They don't care whether it's a whole bag or a partial bag. It does not matter. So try to get that label off. If you can't, for some reason, it doesn't matter. It matters, but it's okay for there to be a little bit in there. It's not like throwing a plastic garbage bag or a piece of metal into our compost. That is a big, hairy deal that can get us kicked out of Orange County's free composting program. But this, it's okay if every now and then there's a plastic label or a paper label that you couldn't get off of there. Pet food bags, nope, they don't go to NexTrex. This is a bird seed bag. It's got a number 7 on it. What does 7 stand for? Who knows? Who cares? It isn't a 2, it isn't a 4, it's going into the trash. All right, here's a cute little NexTrex video.
As consumers, most of us are handling plastic film packaging in our lives every single day. It serves many purposes that includes keeping our products fresh, protecting the quality of our goods, and ease of transport. But what is the solution to all of this plastic film packaging once it has served its primary purpose? Introducing NexTrex, your recycling solution for plastic film packaging into beautiful Trex outdoor living products. It is amazing when you start to realize how often you come across plastic film packaging. Picking up that loaf of bread, grabbing some fruit or vegetables in the produce section. Paper towel, toilet paper goods stay dry with plastic film overwrap. Buying 24 bottles of water with plastic film overwrap is a lot easier to handle than all of those bottles separately. Or how about your nicely pressed clothes from the dry cleaner with the bag over it? All of these items and more are proudly accepted in the NexTrex program. In today's modern world, we're not only buying from a traditional store, but we're also ordering products online. A lot of these products will arrive in a bubble mailer with possibly another bag inside that is holding the item. Not to worry, these film products are also accepted at NexTrex. Simply collect your film packaging, and here are 3 quick ways to make sure it can be accepted in the NexTrex program. 1. Check to see if the packaging is labeled with a 2 or 4. If so, it can be included. 2. See if the packaging will stretch when you pull it. If so, it can be included. 3. Is the packaging shiny or make a crinkly, crunchy sound? If so, it's unfortunately not acceptable. Place clean and dry items in a collection bag or large plastic bag, and the next time you're at your participating store, drop the bag of film in the collection bin that is usually at the front entrance. The store will then collect the material from the bin and include the film with any of the store film that they receive on their incoming pallets of goods. All of these film materials are getting ready for a new life with NexTrex. The larger bag of bags will then ship back to the store's area warehouse, where it will be prepared for shipment to Trex. Once the bags of film arrive, there will be yet another opportunity to collect more plastic film that is collected at the warehouse to be included in the NexTrex program. The warehouse will place all of the clean and dry plastic film into a standard baler that will make the bales weighing about 1,000 pounds each. These bales will then be loaded on a semi-truck and shipped to a Trex manufacturing plant proudly located in the United States. Once the plastic film bales arrive at Trex, they'll be processed into our premium outdoor living products, such as Trex composite decking and railing. NexTrex. You can now relax knowing that you have helped do your part in giving plastic film packaging a next with Trex.
Okay. Do you have to bring your plastic film and bags to UPC? No, you don't. You can go drop them in at any of the participating Trex stores. We don't get credit for it, but that's okay. We're gonna get to 1,000 pounds pretty darn quickly, I think. As a matter of fact, we're thinking about having a lottery and who can guess what date UPC gets to 1,000 pounds. The winner gets to sit on the bench first. I found out because I called Wegmans to say, what the heck is this crinkly plastic bag that you sold us grapes in? What is it made of? And the guy put me on hold for 30 minutes. And he came back and told me, he said, it's number 4 polyethylene. I'm like, you need to print that on the bag so that I don't have to waste my time and your time. And he said, you are so right. And I said, by the way, are you all a participant in Trex's program? And he said, yes, we are. And I said, all right, I'm gonna let Trex know that you're not on the list in the state of North Carolina. So I called Trex, and they said, we didn't know there was a Wegmans in North Carolina. Well, it is. So Wegmans. Okay, you can also take them to one of the waste and recycling centers for Orange County, but only 2 of them. These are the only 2 where you can take your plastic film in bags. If you show up with plastic films and bags at another one of them, even if it's right near your house, they're gonna turn you away or tell you to throw it in the dumpster. Yuck. Okay, there's a lot more info on our website, on the Earth Care website, not only about plastic and recycling, but about composting and about everything. We're gonna put this video online there soon, and that was my gazillion slides, and we have 10 minutes. Yes?
So I know we've talked a lot about plastic, but I want to talk about a lot of the mail that I get, solicitations, blah, the junk mail. And I think lodged in my brain is you shouldn't recycle it if it's shiny or something, or if it's kind of that, marketing's kind of stuff. But maybe just a letter, just a piece of typing paper, sure. Or an envelope that has a plastic window in it.
Can be recycled. It's okay, it is.
If you can tear the plastic.
If you can tear the plastic.
Yeah, and even if there's just a little bit of plastic in a return envelope,
Yeah.
or in the initial envelope,
That's okay.
it's okay.
But what about just all other mail that you get?
Now, are you talking about like paper mail, or are you
Yeah.
talking about thin plastic film?
Paper mail.
Paper mail, if you can tear it, it's paper, and they're pretty tolerant of paper that can be recycled in Orange County. Yeah, magazines can be. Yeah. Yeah.
So glossy can be.
And again, these are great questions. And the definitive authority is the Orange County website, not John Wilson. Because y'all are gonna start very quickly asking me questions that I'm either gonna look like a deer in headlights, that which side of the deer do we put into? Or worse yet, I'm gonna tell you wrong. So maybe trust but verify.
Yes, my neighborhood had a recycling expert from Orange County come, and that was very helpful.
Yeah.
People could actually bring the stuff and say, what do I do with this? What do I do with that? And she was great.
Yes, she is great.
So if you have a neighborhood group something like that, and you can do it between, is it 9
Monday,
to 5?
Friday, 9 to 5, we've asked them to come here and they don't
Do Sunday
work
school.
on weekends and evenings, but yeah, during the week, they'd be delighted to send a representative out.
Thank you guys so much for setting this up. I'm excited to have a place to bring this kind of thing. I just wanted to let people know about one other opportunity, in the spirit of reusing, is that one of our outreach partners, Table, uses plastic grocery bags to package and deliver food to our neighbors in need. And you can take your plastic grocery bags to them as another option. I have an email from them from September 9th that says, we are always in need of grocery bags, but lately our stock has been particularly low. Please bring them by the office. Plastic grocery bags are our biggest need, but we use paper and reusable as well. So.
Wow,
And
okay.
you're in Carborough?
In Carborough Table, yeah, right across from kind of like where the Hampton Inn and Art Center.
Do they say anything about if it has a little, like, try to make sure it's intact? I bet they don't want the ones that
It
have
needs
holes
to
in
be
it.
intact and clean, for
Yeah.
sure, but they're gonna use that to put food in to give to families who are benefiting from their.
Will you forward that to us so we can publicize? That's
Yes.
amazing that they're having a shortage of plastic
Right.
grocery bags. Yeah. Yep,
This is a somewhat general question, but aren't churches more free than most any institution to pursue this sort of thing?
That is a stumper. I don't know quite how to answer that.
Because we have a freedom of religion,
Yeah,
and as long as we don't trade on that, we're
Yeah.
free to do a lot.
we are, although we're Presbyterians too, so we have to obey our committee structure.
Well, I mean, and they're Presbyterians and then they're Presbyterians.
Yeah.
The way that goes.
But we can behave as freely as, perhaps as we might as a church, but we still can't drop stuff off in recycling places that's not recyclable. I don't think that's what you're suggesting.
No, I'm not, that's not what I'm saying,
Yeah.
is trading on it, that's where a church got in trouble, is when they started, doing stuff for people in there. I mean, I guess you can do it with members of the church and
Yeah.
not get in trouble.
Yeah.
John, thank you. What an enormous amount of work you did there. John, we're all good Presbyterians. We all try, as you say, to recycle. Like all the paper, it arrives there. Is it all used? Where does it go? NexTrex seems to use the plastic to make something. But what about everything else we send in those bins? Are they, if it's clean, what does Orange County do with all that paper? And the bottles. Because then we drink bottled wine once in a while and we cycle those separately.
Yeah, glass and metal are actually attractive for recycling, for county programs. They sell it, as the video pointed out, they sell it where there's a market. And when there's no market, they sit on it. And it's a taxpayer subsidized, feel-good waste of energy and gasoline in the trucks that come and pick it up, and the storage facilities. A sadly low percentage of materials that are collected for recycling are actually recycled. But that's a better question for Orange County, again, than for me, of what are the particulars of Orange County's program, of how much that they collect in our curbside bins, actually are they finding a market for recycling?
I don't have that,
Fantastic.
answer, but the person who came from Orange County to our community talked about following the recyclables to a place, I think she said it was in Raleigh, that sorts things, and she had pictures of the sorters. And that's the problem with caps from bottles.
Yeah.
That things fall through, and so, it really made an impression on us that the things really do largely get at least that far.
Right, Another reason not to smush your aluminum cans, which I thought was a great idea. You know, you go for a big Labor Day weekend up in the mountains, you remind everybody to bring their beverage of choice in aluminum cans. I smush them because they're easier to transport home, and I'm doing the recyclers a favor.
No, they fall through the conveyor.
Yeah, and you can hurt your knees.
For the NexTrex challenge, and forgive me if this is on the literature that's been sent out, so bread bags.
Yes.
Okay? Those can be put in. Everything I see says clean and dry. So you need to not just now tell me what next level I need to go to, because I am the hyper type.
Yeah, I just pull it inside out and shake it over the sink and then throw it in there.
So if there's one little speck left,
okay.
I don't need to sit there and wash it in my
Do
sink.
not. Do not. You will waste much more
water, soap, and all
you'll
the
have
other
a bigger
resources.
carbon footprint by wasting that much water to clean it than you will by just turning it inside out, sending it to NexTrex. We'll hear if there's a problem. If you've got a peanut butter and jelly sandwich that's heavy on the peanut butter and jelly in a Ziploc bag and it gets smushed in your pocket and the whole inside of the bag, throw it in the trash. That's a no-no. Yeah. You can also feel how this is really. Go ahead.
So I remembered that I had seen our research, something about that, and if you signed up for the email, we can send this to you, but on the website, the Orange County website, with growing concerns and awareness of waste generation, fluctuating recycling markets, and talks of recycling being the host, residents have reached out to ask about where their recycling was sent after they put it in their blue cart. And there's a lot of information on the website, and we'll include that, link to that page to answer that question more fully.
I meant to include that as a slide, but I didn't, so we'll send it to you.
You mentioned people who may have forgotten that we don't have a landfill. Our trash, every bag of trash you put out goes where? To a transit station in Durham, and then where?
Where's our landfill these days? I can't even remember. It's in a county that's.
It gets to a transit station in Durham, and
Yeah.
then it goes to a southern county and gets
Yeah.
buried in their ground.
It's trucked. It's trucked with non-electric vehicles.
In the reuse.
Yeah. Yes. And you know, this class was about recycling. The most important thing is the upstream part, and that is the refuse, reuse, and then only as a last resort, not as a last resort, second to last resort, recycle / compost. Then the last resort is landfill.
But I will say that in our research, we did find that there is more land that can be used for landfills than we think, and they're making them into ski runs in the Midwest and whatnot. So if in doubt, throw it out. Please don't put something in the recycling bin or in the compost bin if you're not 100% sure. It feels bad to put anything in the garbage can, but it creates more trouble for the recycling centers, as we saw in these videos. So yeah, it feels bad to throw things in the garbage, but it's better than causing problems.
We have a bag question.
Yeah.
This says recycle and don't recycle. What does that mean?
This has two, good question. This has two. One says recycle, recycle plastic bag, that's this, through store drop-off. Do not recycle the plastic wrap, because the actual bread was wrapped in a plastic, an inner plastic wrap.
Yeah, I meant to bring it. It was crinkly and shiny.
Yeah.
And we should have brought
A bag of liquid IV electrolytes from Costco. It has two of these also. Outer bag is store recyclable. Inner containers, packet containers that the actual powder is in, they go in the trash.
A lot of plastic bottles also have a wrap around them that you have to cut off, because the wrap is not recyclable, but the bottle is.
Yeah, oh gosh. The label?
Yeah, like cleaner solution.
Yeah, yeah.
And the shiny one, you cut that off, so it has the label saying two things, that the bottom is, the label, the racks
Exactly.
of it, but it would be shiny and pink.
So I try really hard not to get a plastic grocery bag in the first place. Like I bring my bags or I get papers, I forgot my bag. And sometimes I like to do the online grocery orders, and at Harris Teeter, they always put your stuff in plastic bags automatically, but I don't know if anybody's found a way around that. But at Food Line, if you order on Instacart, you can specify that you want paper bags, and they'll they do your shopping for you and put your stuff in paper bags and bring it to your car.
You can specify in Harris Teeter too, but
Okay.
it never works.
Okay, this is you're raising a really interesting point. So, reusable cotton bag or whatever those things are that we carry if we're a really good citizen, we carry them into the grocery store. Paper bag, plastic bag. Try to guess in which order uses the most resources to manufacture. The cotton or whatever synthetic reusable by far takes the most resources and electricity, etc. Paper, second most resources to manufacture, and you have to chop down trees. Thin plastic polyethylene, the fewest, a thin layer of oil. But polyethylene plastic bags are the worst because, first of all, of course, they use oil. Second of all, they end up in gunking up recycling programs. They end up in landfills. We are manufacturing them by the hundreds of gazillions. So the person that presented that information that I just presented, I was like, oh my God, well, what does that mean? She said the best bag to use in the grocery store is the one you already have. If you've got paper bags or will make good use of them, and that doesn't include just putting them out after the groceries get delivered and putting them out in your recycling cart, which you can do as long as they're still clean. It may very well be that the plastic bag is actually, it may be a better choice actually for delivery than paper bags. I don't
Now
know.
a good friend of ours told us that table needs them, and so there are uses for them.
But if you get plastic bags, you gotta NexTrex them or take them back to the grocery store. Don't throw them in your trash or in your recycling.
I'm surprised NexTrex is the only company that's mentioned. Aren't there other industries that are using this to create?
There are.
Okay.
NexTrex is by far the biggest.
Okay.
And that's the program that was made aware. Jarrett had a member of our church, whose parents go to a church in Virginia that did this program, and everybody went wild about it. And so Jarrett forwarded the email to me and said, hey, I realize y'all are digging around like raccoons in the compost bins a lot, and you don't want to take anything else on. And my first reaction was, no, we're not doing that. Church is going to be overrun in plastic.
But then Bob Greenwood said,
Bob mentioned plastic bags recycling to our Earth Care team 2 or 3 years ago. And it's been on our, what a great idea, we're being overrun in our garage with it also. And then this came along and my initial reaction was, no way. And then we started thinking about it and we realized, we can do this. Or maybe we can't. Maybe it's going to be a disaster. Maybe there is going to be plastic all over the church. And then we'll just tell Trex we're out. But we can do this. We can do this.
Where are we going to keep 1,000 pounds of plastic?
We take it. I've got a lovely relationship with the general manager at the Harris Teeter in Meadowmont that I drive past 7 days a week to go visit my mom. And I asked him, can we bring University Presbyterian's NexTrex? By the way, you are a participant in the NexTrex challenge according to Trex. And he said, what? And I said, here's the letter from Trex. You all sell this to Trex and make money. And he said, okay. And he said, call me the day before you come. Come on a Tuesday, Thursday, or a Saturday. Call me the day before you come. Tell me you're coming. And then drive around back and unload your SUV, and I will take it and put it where all of our, just think about how much plastic film grocery stores receive. We buy cases of paper towels and toilet paper at Costco, And we think that's got a lot of plastic overwrap. They've got huge amounts of plastic coming in.
Yeah, so we're gonna weigh it.
We weigh it.
And it's an honor system. We're gonna weigh it and take a picture of it and send it to NexTrex.
We log every time we take a batch over to either Harris Teeter or Food Line or wherever we're gonna take it. We weigh it and we log it on NexTrex's website. Yep.
Are you gonna weigh the box? There and carry the box and then weigh it again?
No, I weigh myself. And then I weigh myself holding the plastic bags and I subtract the two numbers. I subtract the first number from the second number. Yeah. Yes. That's exactly what I'm gonna do. No matter what you say, that is what I'm gonna do for the next year. I don't wanna hear any other way to do it. And we've got big, you'll see them, they're in the Trex bins right now. They are 45-gallon polyethylene plastic bags that we're gonna pull out of there, and I can hold them and weigh them, and out they go.
It doesn't have to be exact.
It really doesn't. It's the honor system.
Did we see another head? Y'all, it's about time to go to worship, so. Thank you.
Thank you all.